So welcome back guys, you are watching Rising Coders Era, and in this video we are going to see what is a for loop, working of a for loop, some examples of for loop, the real world problem statements where we use a for loop, and also we are going to see the syntax of the for loop and all the concepts related to for loop. So first of all, the important thing here is what is the definition of for loop. Okay, so what is the definition of for loop? It is nothing but allows you to execute a block of code repeatedly for a specific number of iterations. That means if you want to perform any task repeatedly for certain time, okay, so you can use a for loop. For example, if you want to print the numbers from 1 to 10, 1 to 100, 1 to 1000, so at that point you need to use a for loop. So what will happen? It will iterate by 1 and it will print all the numbers from start to the end. Okay, so this is nothing but it is a for loop. So for loop is nothing but you are going to execute a block of code repeatedly, okay, in a loop. That means until and unless the condition is getting satisfied up to that particular point, you are going to repeat this for loop. Okay, suppose I am just going to tell a human to write a numbers up to 10, then he is going to write it. Same I will tell it to the machine is going to perform that particular task. Now what if I am just going to tell the humans and the machine that you are going to write 1000 numbers? So at this point machine will work faster and without having any errors. So when this happens, when you have to do a lot of tasks, a huge task repeatedly, at that point we use machines. Okay, so for example we are just going to take here an example, but before that we are just going to see the syntax for the for loop. So for loop you just have to use a keyword for, and inside this you need to give a starting point. Okay, we are just seeing the syntax for right now. I'm just going to make it comment. So you are just going to say for, so that the machine is going to understand that it is a for loop. Now here we are just going to say start. We are going to give here a start point. Then we are going to give the end point where we have to stop. Start point is going to tell you where you are going to start, from which point you need to start, from which number you are going to start, and end will tell you where you have to end. Okay, and after that there will be increment or there will be a decrement. So it is depend up to you. It depends up to you. If you want to increment the number, you are going to say I plus plus. If you want to decrement a number, you are going to say I minus minus. So we are just going to take one example for this, and here there will be curly brackets. Inside this your code will be there. Okay, alright guys, and we are going to print numbers from 1 to 5. So how we can do it using for loop? So we are just going to say for, and here we are going to create an initializer. So right now we are going to initialize a variable and it is going to be I. Now if you see, we are going to start from 1, so you are just going to say I is equal to 1. Now where you have to stop? Okay, we are just seen in the syntax, we are going to give the starting point. Here the starting point is 1, so we are just going to say int I is equal to 1. After that the end point where we have to stop. So we are going to stop at 5. So how we are going to write here? We are just going to say I should be less and it should be equal to 5. And then what will happen? It will just increment. So we are just going to say increment, and here we are going to say south, that means system.out.println and I. Okay, so it will be printing all the numbers. So what will happen? I is 1 at this point and 1 is less than 5. It will be printed, then it will be incremented, then it will be 2 is also less than 5, yes, then it will be printed. So it will be continue until and unless the I value is going to be 5, and if it is 5, it is going to be 5 is not lesser than but 5 is equal to 5, it will be printed. When it will be 6, then it will be stopped, because 6 is not lesser than 5 or not equal to 5, so it will stop. So let's run the code and let's see. Alright guys, and here there are results. So you can just see 1 2 3 4 5, all these numbers are being printed. So up to which number you have to print, you are just going to give here. You can give here 100, 1000, how much numbers you have to print, you can just print here. The next thing, you can just create here another variable. So you can just say int, and we are just going to say length is equal to 5. You can just do like this, length is equal to 5, and you can just place it here a length. Okay, you can just place here a length, and it will be working for you. Again, if I'm just going to run, it will work, it will be working. Now when we are just going to use a for loop is being used to iterate all the numbers. Okay, so it is also being used in arrays, it is also being used in collections, and when you are just using a string, you can iterate through a string. Now what if I just want to decrement this? That means I want to print the numbers from 5 4 3 2 1. Okay, I'm just going to do opposite of that. So I will just say for, then I will just say int, I will take another variable. You can take I as well. So right now we are just going to take a j variable, and here you can just see the starting point is 5. So you will say j is equal to 5. Then my stop, where I'm just going to stop, I'm going to stop at the 1. So I will say j. Right now if you see j is greater value, right now j is 5, so we are just going to say j is greater and equal to 1. So it will be printing up to 1, and when it will be 0, it will be stopped. Now if I'm just going to say j plus plus, then it will be 6. Right now if you see the j value is 5, so it will be 6. We have to do it opposite of that. So that means we are just going to say minus minus, so it will be 5 minus 1. So we are just going to say j minus minus, and here we are just going to say system.out.println and the variable j. After running the code, you can just see there will be 1 2 3 4 5 printed from this side and 5 4 3 2 1 from downside. So you can just see right now 1 2 3 4 5 is been printed, and after that 5 4 3 2 1 is also printed. Okay, so thank you guys for watching this video. You will get the notes and source code inside the description.